Yeah. What's good? It's your boy JayThat'sMe. We're going to discuss AEW Dynamite from May the 7th, 2025. A pretty boring show as per usual, but at this point, it is what it is. It's nothing that we can do about it. All I can say is how the mighty have fallen. So we kicked the show off with Adam Page. He comes out to a really good reaction. He gets on the mic and says that for the past 2 years has been some type of special hell. After what happened to him and his family, he wanted revenge and justice, and he found it. He took from another man his hopes and dreams, and it nearly killed him. After their cage match, he stood on the ramp thinking how he'd find some sort of justice, some sort of peace and joy, but he found nothing. For one moment, he thought if he could get back in the ring and finish the job, he would be happy, but he couldn't. And the truth is, he doesn't know why. He thought taking his anger out on those who get close would help, but it did nothing. So he had to make a decision. He mentions Swerve Strickland. Page says he'll never forget what he did to him, but he'll probably never forgive. But he'll have to put it behind him. He talks about entering the Owen Hart Cup tournament after he defeated Kyle Fletcher and Josh Alexander. The final stop on his journey sees him taking on the man they call the greatest wrestler in the world today, Will Ospreay. So Will Ospreay shows up. He gets a really good reaction. Apparently, it's Will Ospreay's birthday. Happy birthday, Will Ospreay. Ospreay says it's a pleasure to finally meet Hangman, but he also apologizes as he understands how much the match means to Hangman. One of his favorite moments was when he took the Misfits, known as the Dark Order, and gave them a leader with support, then helping him become AEW World Champion in a moment that was perfect. But after he lost it, everything changed, and Will gets it. It's been a rough couple of years for Hangman. Last week, Ospreay and everyone saw something from Page after he beat Kyle Fletcher, something we haven't seen in a while, and that was see Hangman smile. Will Ospreay talks about everyone wanting to see Hangman rise back up, but he's got one problem with that. At Double or Nothing, Will Ospreay's not losing. He addressed what Hangman did to Jeff Jarrett, Christopher Daniels, and Swerve Strickland, saying Ospreay's been handling all the media and other jobs that Page hasn't. He calls Hangman out, saying this is not about his redemption, but it's about Will Ospreay's ascension. So the two of them go nose to nose. Then the shitty-ass Don Callis family, they show up. Don Callis runs down Will Ospreay for leaving his family. And then he calls Hangman Adam Page a sociopath. So this pisses off Hangman. And Will Ospreay holds him back. And then Will Ospreay wants Don Callis to pick any two members of the Don Callis family to face him and Hangman. But it's going to happen next week. And that was that. So, this is fine, I guess. It makes sense. So, it is what it is, I guess. Alright. At least we got the reason as to why Hangman did what he did and everything else. He poured out, his heart, which was great. So, good shit there. Moving on. So, commentary, they run down the lineup for tonight. And we get a small preview of Beats Break. Stuckley halfway, he shows up along with FTR. So Stokely then runs down Tony Schiavone, who cuts him off. So Cash Wheeler tells him to relax, because Stokely called Tony Schiavone a pale, pasty piece of shit, which was hilarious. So they turn their attention to Daniel Garcia, and then Dax closes things up by telling Tony to tell Nigel they'll see him tomorrow night, because Collision is going to be on Thursday. Okay, alright, that's fine. Moving on. Anna Jay, she's backstage along with Harley Cameron. So you talk about TNA, which is tits and ass, and tenacity and aggression. They're the keys to success. So, I mean, that's fine, I guess. I mean, but when did they start doing, all this raunchy shit? Oh, yeah, because AEW is a hypocritical company. I mean, who would have thought that sex sells? Like, come on, open your fucking eyes. Of course it does. But, I mean, it is what it is. But you know how some of their fans are like, oh, well, you can't be doing that. Oh, don't objectify women. It's like, whatever. It don't matter. Moving on. So, Toni Storm, she wins her Eliminator Fatal 4-Way. It involved Toni Storm, Thunder Rosa, Penelope Ford, and Anna Jay. So towards the end of the match, Megan Bayne came out and took out a couple of participants, and then Toni Storm ended up getting the win via the chicken wing crossface, which is a move that Bob Backlund needs to do, and Frankie Kazarian has been doing that quite a while in TNA for like a couple years now. So that's cool there. I don't know what they're doing with Toni Storm. I'm guessing this could lead to Toni Storm versus Megan Bayne Part 2, but who really knows, man? It's not really that important if we're being honest. Moving on. Oh, yeah, before I move on, it seems like Thunder Rosa kind of needs to move on from AEW. She's been an afterthought. She's not really done anything meaningful in quite some time. I know a large portion of that has to be, because she was injured and whatnot and everything else. But she's not done anything worth note in the last 2.5 years, at least. She's basically like where Britt Baker is now, basically. It's just, she's still on television. Like, they book her like she's a good hand, She's a good utility player, but that's it. So, I don't know. I think she would do better in WWE or TNA, but that's just me thinking out loud. Moving on. So this leads us into the Hurt Syndicate. So, the Crew, they're in the crowd. The Crew being Leo Rush and Action Andretti. So, basically, MVP gets on the mic. He asks where all the best tag teams in the world are to face, and they try to take the titles away from the Hurt Syndicate. So Top Flight, they come out, and it's like, what the world? They got a small reaction, but nothing too big. So they address their struggles as of late. They look at this as an opportunity. The Hurt Syndicate, they like to hurt people, and they know how to get back up from hurt. They know that they're the underdogs in this fight, but they also know that they can hold their own against top teams in this business. And then they ask the Motor City if they want to see a miracle. And then MJF shows up and beats the shit out of Darius and Dante Martin, which was awesome. So I think he ended up biting Darius, which was cool. He ended up powerbombing Dante on the ring apron, which was great. And then MJF busted up in Dante, which was cool as well. So there's that. Then MJF, He gets into the ring, and he declares that he hurts people. The crowd pops. Lashley gets on the mic, and Bobby Lashley just smiles because I think the mic is muted. And then he tells MJF that he'll have an answer for him next week. All right, this is fine. This makes total sense. I would assume next week is the week that Cedric Alexander will make his AEW debut. So that should be cool. A really good reaction. MJF gets screwed over. He gets 4 thumbs down by the Hurt Syndicate. They beat him up. Maybe he aligns with FTR, and it's FTR and FTR and MJF, the Pinnacle, versus the Hurt Syndicate. That could be kind of cool. So maybe that's where things are leading, but we don't know yet. Moving on. So the Elite, they're backstage. They address their opponents in the trios match later on. Okada calls Kevin Knight. He tells him, "Good night, bitch." Ricochet confirms that he can help the Young Bucks solve the Swerve problem, and he leaves. And then the Death Riders, they're just sitting there in the dark, and they're looking to do business with the Elite. Who gives a fuck? Fuck this shit. Moving on. So this leads us into Nick Wayne. He's putting the ROH television title on the line, and his opponent ended up being Rhino. Who gives a shit? Fuck Rhino. Nick Wayne gets the win via the kill switch, and then post-match, Christian Cage, he puts the title around the waist of Nick Wayne again, and then he took it off of him and left it laying, and then that was it. Okay, this is fine, I guess. Do I give a shit about this? No, not really. If they're going to do the Patriarch turn, they need to hurry up. Like, this has to happen either next week at the big show next week, or they could wait till Double or Nothing in 2 weeks' time, but they gotta do something. Moving on. So this leads us into the All-Star Trios match. It's basically the match from last week, minus Omega and Okada. So the Young Bucks, they end up defeating Swerve. So Swerve loses to a small package. What the fuck? I don't really care about this at all. It seems like this is leading to either Anarchy in the Arena or Blood and Guts. I'm guessing. I don't know. They haven't really said much of anything about this, but we ain't got but 3 weeks left, so we'll have to wait and see. Moving on. So, Will Ospreay, he's talking to Renee Paquette backstage. He's interrupted by MJF. He makes a AEW shop shill for wanting to see Will Ospreay win the Owen and go on and get his AEW World Championship at All In Texas. So Will Ospreay mocks MJF by suggesting he's afraid to face him again. But MJF insists that he wants to prove that ain't nobody on the level of the devil. And then Will Ospreay reminds MJF that he is on another level. Alright, that's fine. It seems like when Ospreay wins at All In, which he will, it seems like MJF could very well be the guy who takes the title off of Ospreay. I would do that next year at Revolution. You could either do it at Revolution, or you could wait until later on this year at World's End, which is in December. You could give maybe Ospreay a 5-month title reign and do it like that, and then you have the start of next year where it's MJF and Ospreay. They're feuding. So maybe that's what they might do. I don't know. Moving on. So let's lead us into a sit-down interview with Jamie Hayter, who still looks like Daphne from Scooby-Doo, with her 1970s hair and gear. I mean, get up. She talked about what this match means to her. She runs down Mercedes Moné in her remarks last week, calling the TBS champion the antithesis of what Owen Hart stands for. She wants to know the woman behind the hype. She talks about feeling insulted by Mercedes, saying that she reminds her of herself, admitting Hayter doesn't have the same star power, but she does have integrity, grit, and truth. And this is about showing Mercedes that she's not unstoppable. So then Mercedes attacks Jamie Hayter from behind. They fight on top of the fake little balcony. And Mercedes ends up putting Jamie Hayter in the bank statement, or the CEO statement. So there's that. We all know that Mercedes is winning at All In, Texas, against Toni Storm. It's a given at this point. Like, come on. So it is what it is. Moving on. So Chris Statlander, my bad. Willow Nightingale, she's backstage. She looks sexy. She addresses the Death Riders, saying she wants to punch them in the face with her fist. So Chris Statlander approaches Willow. The issues they had in the past bubble back up as Willow refuses to address it directly. And then she offers Chris Statlander to a match. He challenges her to a match on Collision on tomorrow. Okay, that's fine. Who really cares? Moving on. So Roosh attacks Kevin Knight because Kevin Knight cost Roosh the match when it was a fatal 4-way for $100,000, which ended up being won by Sammy Guevara. So, who's still there. I thought he was in Ring of Honor jail, so apparently he must have got bail. So, who gives a shit about it? It's not really that important. So then Okada beats up Kevin Knight. Then this leads into a match where Okada wins via the Rainmaker. Kevin Knight got in some offense, who cares? And Speedball Matt Bailey, he made the save basically because Okada was going to do another Rainmaker, and he also saved Roosh. He also saved Kevin Knight from Roosh earlier on. So that's crazy that that Mike Bailey had not one, not two, but 3 segments on this damn show. What the fuck? All right, moving on. So Don Callis says that Don Callis lays out a challenge to the Rock and Roll Express and a couple of guys to take on Kyle Fletcher and company. Who cares? It's not really that important. And then next week it's going to be Will Ospreay and Hangman Page taking on Josh Alexander and Tenosuke Takeshita. Can they coexist? Who gives a shit? Moving on. So Bobby Lashely, he's backstage. He's asked to give us a response instead of next week. So the Hurt Syndicate, they brought in legal counsel, and they will heed his advice. He speaks, and they listen. All right, that's fine. So this is interesting. And then, main event of the evening, Samoa Joe puts Claudio Castagnoli to sleep. And then Jon Moxley has a stare down with Samoa Joe. Samoa Joe then suplexes Claudio on the steel chair upwards. And that was it. Who cares about this shit? Dynamite, as per usual, continues to be garbage, and this was just a waste of time. I do like the MJF stuff, though. The MJF Hurt Syndicate stuff is pretty cool. So it is what it is. The build for Double Nothing has been trash, and it's not good. AEW should be ashamed of themselves, because this is one of their biggest pay-per-views of the year. It's one of their big four, really. So I don't know why Tony Khan has not put any effort into the build to Double or Nothing. I don't know. Maybe it's because NXT is competing with them on a Memorial Day weekend. Maybe that's it. But we really don't know. So I don't know. But what did you guys think of AEW Dynamite? Like, comment, subscribe. Peace.